let's get idolized. So I wanted to come in with a big bang, you know, like maybe like split the atom, see what happens. Boom, let's have a look at this first roster straight off the bat, Skimmy, and see what this team's packing, because it's a lot.
Certainly is, yep. They've leveled up in multiple roles and they've gone from strength to strength. We've always talked about them as a dark horse this entire year, and they're looking to try and do the business with just one win tonight to guarantee that top 4 position. I think we've all been taken aback by the fact that we've seen the likes of Jovi be incredibly aggressive and actually win on multiple fronts. We've seen Styx slot into the AD carry position quite nicely in in partnership there with Hexflash, and I think Golly, honestly, to come in and add a little bit of extra spice, a little bit of stability, being the in-role player, it's going to be a tall task into Direwolves that have had multiple swaps.
Yeah, look, we do need to talk about a couple of those, but look, I think they did mention as well, they've got their super roster now, they're feeling very comfortable, they're all best buds, but Katsuri as well, been sort of like the glue that's holding them together, but Chungy up in this top lane now, we sort of had concerns after that first time we saw him up there, but Tally, they might have a couple surprises for us.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot left in store about the style rosters that we don't really know. Yeah, a lot of the other rosters in the league, we've seen pretty much everything they have to offer so far, but with this style roster, there's still a lot of variables that we just don't really know about, and like what does their ideal comp look like? You know, what kind of playstyle do they really want to lock in on? Because, you know, now it is time to bring that out because you have everything on the line pretty much.
Well, that's right. Like everything is on the line. This is the time to actually prove that you can be in the upper bracket. So I guess, is this the true do or die moment for Direwolves? Because Ion's been playing so well, and like you said, Skimmy, they've got that consistency, they've been really showing up and stepping up their gameplay. Is this the Direwolves' time to prove why they should be top 4?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a chance for them to prove. I wouldn't say and go as far as saying it's do or die. I think it's a case of making sure that your identity has evolved with the player changes you've made, because for the longest time, right, we're always saying it's the Katsuri show, support him, he'll 1v9. Then they bring in Chungy, he plays mid lane, he 1v9, and you're thinking, oh, suddenly now some of that pressure's been alleviated. Then they change it again, they put him up into top lane, good Emphys comes in, drops 9 kills in the Blanc, they still lose. Now you're confused that we got too many cooks in the kitchen, what's going on? So today's a great chance for them to quickly round it out and be like, okay, we go into playoffs, 1 best of 3, we could be out if we lose tonight.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, though. That's the exciting part. But let's have a look at these star bot lanes. I think we've got a lovely little head-to-head looking graphic for you, just to see where these players are sitting there. Again, Stick, stop pointing at me, man. It's too much. But look at just the plethora. I'm going to use that word again, Tally. The plethora of champions being used here.
Yeah, there's a surprising Ari in the champion pool there, so one little off-roll game, but I think they share quite a similar play style. You know, I think they're both very heavy carry-oriented players. You know, I don't really think either one of them wants to go for that utility style. You know, you do see Jin and Varus, but I think these champions have shifted into a way where they are like a very carry-centric champion that you would play in the bot lane now. So I think that both these players, both these teams, both the supports play a very similar way as well, which, linking that up with what their junglers want to do. Probably going to be a very, very similar looking draft from both sides.
I'm pretty keen for that. I'm keen to see what's going on, but that CSD at 15, not looking too great for Styx, the old man, but that's okay. He's got a lot to work with. Ezreal's his main champion. And talking about Styx, let's bring him in, because we know he's ready to have a quick chat, and I'm going to be pointing at him just like he was pointing at me, because I have to. Yeah,
where's my
that's
camera?
it.
Oh
See?
yeah, there it is. Yeah, I'm pointing back at you now. Good evening,
How you
gents.
doing,
How are
brother?
we?
What's going on?
Good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'm good.
It's the way. How you feeling for tonight? Like, this is a big series. Like, have you guys been prepped? You've been watching all their VODs and seeing how we're going to be able to beat the Direwolves?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. I think, look, honestly, we only need to get 1 win from this series, so I think there's not like a whole lot of pressure. I think Direwolves are a team that we match up against really well. Like, our strong points sort of counter their strong points, so I don't think that they're going to be too much of a challenge tonight.
Okay. So, well, I guess that brings me down to you then. Like, so you're obviously feeling pretty good. Ezreal's back in the meta. Are we expecting an Ezreal game from you tonight?
Oh, I mean, you can always expect an Ezreal game just as long as the other team doesn't ban it. Like, that's literally the only reason I won't play it.
True. Yeah, no, I sort of set myself up for that one. That's okay.
What about 5
I'll
tanks,
pass it over
though,
to
Styx? What about 5 tanks? Then are you still playing
Yeah.
Ezreal? Surely not.
That's the thing.
Don't
Like,
cope.
the Warmogs meta, like, okay, I think Ezreal can kind of still play into the Warmogs meta as long as you build like Blade of the Ruined King, something that's like shredding Black Cleaver. Yeah. I know Jimmy was like asking about Black Cleaver on Ezreal like the other day to me in DM, so I was like, all right, we can maybe cook there.
Oh, it's cooking. Cooking Tally. Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I'll keep it simple. Final game of the regular season for yourself, this last game. You've talked a lot in the past about how, how confident you guys feel against the other teams left fighting for that upper bracket playoff spot. And, you did mention how you feel against Direwolves already, but I guess I want to know your feelings about your last weeks of practice that you have already had, and, what is your overall atmosphere with the team going into playoffs?
I think the team atmosphere is pretty good. We definitely haven't been as disciplined with our practice the last week as we were earlier in the season. I think just because we knew that we sort of had a bit of an easier run home. We're really confident mainly because we're the truest team on the ladder. We've beaten everyone below us and we lost to everyone above us. So I feel like just based on that stat alone, Dials is currently below us. So I think we're just locked and ready for a 2-0 here. I think the team dynamic, the environment, everything's been really good. So we're pretty chilled and ready.
And I did put you guys to finish 4th on my, prediction for the split. So I would love if you could hook me up with that, make me look smarter.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm the same, Pike. Look, we've had a few grief ons, but that's okay. That's beside the point. Sticks, mate. My question was, objectively, what are we looking to try and get out of tonight? You said already one game is what's required. So is it a case of repetition, playing what you've done so far, and just saying you're not prepared to play against our style? Because as you mentioned, stylistically match quite well into them. Or is it a case of doing whatever it takes just to get that one win, maybe reveal a few cheeky picks here and there, and then, put the brakes on a little bit and hide the rest of it for playoffs?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. If we get win in game 1, I don't think we're going to try and, reveal too much of what we might have in store for next week. But I think, look, any time that you're playing the last game of the regular split and you're in contention for playoffs, I think the last game is really important for morale. If you go into playoffs coming off a really huge loss, I feel like it's pretty detrimental to everyone's confidence and just affects the team morale overall. So I think mainly for us, what we want to just get out of tonight is a good clean win, keep the morale up, get some momentum going into playoffs and do some damage.
And I'm sure above all else, it's a case of you need this 2-0 so that the camera is on you for the victory celebration so we can get another GIF, another Twitter post, and all the clout in the world.
I got something cooked up, bro. I'm just saying, I got something cooked up.
Yes!
You'll have to see,
Production.
We'll have to see. Yeah, so they're already prepped now. They're all right, just make sure the camera's on Sticks. All right, they're probably getting tired of it now. It's every time, man. Well, Sticks, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I hope you have a good series. Good luck out there. I know you're going to crush it. Play Ezreal for me.
All right, thanks, Pikes. Give me Jimmy. Have a good night.
Bye.
That's a good Pike Skimmy Jimmy.
Pike Skimmy Jimmy.
You should trademark that.
It rolls off the tongue well.
It does. I still stand by that we could go for that Ed and Eddie thing. Because I'm a Jim too. So it's Jim, Jimmy, Skimmy.
You just need to get on the Immy
and Jimmy.
You need to get on the Immy wavelength.
Well, I can be a Jimmy, but Jimmy's got Jimmy, so I can't.
They can be multiple.
It's too hard.
Skimmy, Jimmy.
I won't claim it.
Pike me. It doesn't work.
There's Pikey.
Yeah, Pikey.
Skimmy,
we need a me into it. I don't know how you make that work. That's another conversation for another time, isn't it?
Yeah, let's not worry about it. But Ion, okay, they're looking for that one win. They're looking for the 2-0 as well, though. That's really good to hear. It's a bit funny that the difference I want to point out is he said they haven't practiced as much over the last week compared to some of the higher teams like Ground Zero. They said, yeah, we haven't stopped. We've got the ball rolling. We want to keep that momentum up. Whereas Ion, where they are at that comfortable sort of 4th position right now, they haven't. They said, let's give ourselves a break. Do you think that's going to be a pro or a con, Tally?
It's a bit of a kiss curse, giving yourself a bit of a break so you don't hit that burnout when, you're going into your most important games of the split is always fine, but there is always the risk of all of a sudden we didn't, maybe practice for a week and the game's changed, we're a bit rusty, new meta, feel uncomfortable. It's not the stage you want to be in going into, these playoff games. But I really liked what he said, even though if they do pick up that first game, he wants to focus on doing damage because a lot of these teams are going to play each other again in playoffs and, going into these games and remembering, last time we versed these guys, they played a certain champion that demolished us. We have to ban that. It's in the back of your head, and you're just always thinking about these certain things, and it might just change what playoffs looks like.
Got some rent-free demons lurking in the shadows. Absolutely.
All named Jimmy. That's okay. No, let's get Shinky on the desk because we need to have a chat with this fantastic support. The man himself looking so good. The green, lean fighting machine. How are you doing tonight, mate?
I'm doing pretty good. excited to play again after the 1 week break that we had last week.
Well, on that, we just heard from Styx that they haven't really practiced all that much. How's your practice been looking?
I would say we're probably similar to them. Like we definitely did practice like last week, but not as much as before. But yeah, we still got some.
Well, that's good, but a bit of relaxation, bit of rest, right? Gotta take it easy. Gotta take it slow.
Bit of
Yeah?
solo queue, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, just a bit of shenanigans. That's
Pain.
fine. How is the climb going, actually? By the way.
No comment. No comment. Like on Breath accounts, no comment. No comments. Let's just say
Fair enough, I'll
minus
go check
200.
your
Minus
GG after
200.
this. Oh, okay.
Kebab,
Tally.
kebab.
I mean, okay, I guess I want to know a little bit because we haven't really seen much from your roster yet. You know, we only got like that 1 week of, games from you guys on your new roster. So I kind of want you to sell me on why you guys are going to beat Ion tonight. You know, what makes you guys stand out?
I would say like we kind of play better as a team. Like I feel like our synergy is better than this, and like I feel like our just our macro play, you know, and our flexibility, especially champ pool as well. You know, Chongy's now playing top, like he has like the mid pool as well and the top. And yeah.
So we got better macro, playing with the boys. We're smarter. Well, how can you lose?
And Champion Ocean. There you go.
Champion Ocean.
GG.
Champ Ocean.
Absolutely.
Champ Ocean. Yeah.
That's it. Well, I suppose my question for you, Shinky, then is objectively looking at where things are at. We've seen some of you guys on your best champions, and that's when you've looked your strongest. It used to be the Katsuri show. Now it's definitely a little bit more multifaceted than that. Is it a case of tonight doing absolutely everything? Cheese picks, craziness, the 1v3 simp squad of supports for Katsuri. Like, is it literally everything to try and get this win tonight? Or is it just, play stock standard, get those extra reps, and go into playoffs still with all your cards close?
Well, as long as like we just play standard League of Legends, play slow, nice, like farm 10 hits per minute, like we'll win the game no matter what. Like as long as we don't troll anything, troll the early game or anything, like we should win.
No cheese required, eh? No funny business.
Nothing. It's all business. All business.
I mean, good,
Shinky,
but,
mate, thank you so much.
It'd be cool, but we don't
Thank you
need
so
to.
much.
Oh, okay. I see you.
Or are we? I don't know.
Oh, the bait.
Well, mate, we appreciate you coming on tonight. Good luck in that series, mate. Go get that 10 CS. Sadly, you're the support, though. You'll just be taking the little bits. But, mate, good luck out there.
Thank you.
Look, that's kind of good, though. Like, similar prep to Ion. So, like, the teams are probably going to be at about the same level of form. But they're both feeling quite confident. Like, they both have a game plan. They both know what they want to do. It's all about execution now.
Just wait. He's going to do like a first pick Jana, and then you're going to be like, oh, okay. Like, it's just like a Schönfire interview, right? Yeah, Ivan sucks, ban it away. Like, it makes no sense anymore. You have no idea what these players are saying. Half the time, it's just like, I don't want to be here. Let me just quickly speedrun this and give you nothing to work with. I don't know what's going to happen, quite honestly. I think that when we talk about mentality, what Styx mentioned rings true for me, because I feel like if you look at last week, Styx, Chungy on his best champion in the Yasuo, doesn't obviously function the same way in the top lane as it would in the mids. And then, Emphas to be that far ahead on LeBlanc. It's going to take a bit of a hit. So if they can bounce back, then, game on to Ion.
Could be game on, but let's have a look at what these teams have decided to pick up for their side selection as they're both looking... Oh, actually, no. Ion's looking blue. Direwolf's looking red, Tally.
Yeah, the red side is actually an interesting pickup. I think blue side is just heavily favored on what is strong currently in the meta. Could be a different approach on the game because I was thinking like we are seeing this very stale meta in O's of just like, Leona first pick, and just the handshake of no list. Maybe they have, these, counters prepared, like something like the Janna, the Braum, and just they want to bait the enemy into playing the champion.
Okay, I'm excited for that. I think that it opens up a lot of possibilities. And I'll let you guys talk about that in a minute. But before we get into that, get your Twitch channel points in. I'm getting feisty about it. It's the end of the regular split. If you don't do it, you're failing yourself. You know what? That's what you're doing. So get them in. Get excited about it. Support your team. It's what it's here for. But also, let's have a look at our predictions because that's less exciting. But let's have a quick look. As we got just a cheeky little bit of Ion 2-0s.
Who's going to win? We all share
Same
predictions
score,
every week.
same prediction. Wow. Let's all just lose. Let's all just lose and look dumb.
Well, we're all tied for points, I'm pretty sure. Like, final standings for predictions for us, we're all tied. Twitch chats are in the front by 2 games.
There's more of them. We can't beat
Yeah, but
them.
they,
It's a
but they
hive
cheat,
mind.
so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They do cheat. That's okay, but that's fine. But no, looking pretty good. Predictions for us. I think we're all feeling pretty confident about it. I think that it is just Ion been pretty on form, playing very well. Is there any lane in particular you'd be looking at, Skimmy, that you think Ion really is holding true to be the winner?
Yeah, for me, it's mid lane. I think Jovi's incredibly aggressive. I think the pressure's going to be a little bit too much for Emphas to try and deal with. In the past, we've seen him play a bit more of a supported, facilitating style, be it the Karma, the Galio, and so on. His bread and butter would otherwise be like, Orianna, Ari, LeBlanc. And I think Jovi's well equipped to try and handle that with his AD as well as AP options. So that would probably be my lane to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and Coley as well, just being able to impact those jungle plays, and at least I think their synergy I've noticed has been quite good, where you have seen Coley really aggressive, like trying to make plays, trying to get his team ahead. So I think that's the playstyle I like to see from them. It's the playstyle I'm expecting to see tonight. So I've given it a 2-0 tally.
I mean, I agree. I think that, Skimmy did mention Jovi in the mid lane, but I think it might be a bit of a, I said before, kiss curse. I think his aggression is, some of the, well, I would say most of the time, the reason why Ion throw their leads or end up, throwing those even games. I think that, when he plays these melee champs and dives in too far ahead of his team, tries to go for those outplays, that's when we see Ion, fumble the bag. And if I want to see Ion succeed in that 2-0 and follow up my prediction, I prefer him on the range champs. I think he has a lot of success on the Corki Tristana and even the Talia, being able to, still impact the team fights, but being a bit safer.
Well, it does also beg the question, especially for you, Tally, are we going to see 580 carries in a game tonight?
I mean, I'd love to. It just makes the game more exciting.
Main top.
No, not top
I
lane.
don't think so. I don't think we're going to cook. I don't know. I feel like we just want
I
more
wanna
boost,
see it
more
cook.
engage, more CC. Probably like easiest comp to execute.
Full tank Ezreal, that's what I'm saying. But no, the game's ready to go, guys. I'm going to bounce out of here. Dinner time. Go have some fun. Get Ion a win for me.
Well, let's lock in and let's load into this game. There's a banger series between two teams, hotly contested for that coveted 4th place spot. Upper bracket positioning, that's what they're after, a second lifeline, as they get all the opportunity now to deny key champions. No Sphere in particular from Ion. Very clear indication that Ketsui and Emphis, you will not be allowed to carry.
The Rumble is left up. Skimmy, see if this still is a priority pick for Ion. We've seen how strong this champ is for other teams. But with the Ezreal being left up, knowing it sticks, that is a lock-in for them.
It certainly is. It's just a preference pick at the end of the day. And they are giving the handshake across to say, well, you can lock in that Rumble, but Chungi, do you even play it? And that becomes a new conversation in of itself.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to see what Direwolves do want to play into this, because we have seen how strong Doraemon is on the champion, how strong it is in the meta in general, being able to be that solo AP threat for your team. Coley being allowed to play AD champs in the jungle is what his playstyle is, having so much success on, especially if he does have a Lee Sin angle, pair that up with the strong mid laner, and he's have all the options to be able to take over the game.
Absolutely, and if it's not the Lee Sin, his best other AD option, at least in my mind, had to be the Jarvan, right? How many times has he punished in mobile comps because they've gone for all these S-tier picks, but then realized, a Cataclysm kind of just owns us in a 1v9 scenario. So we'll have to wait and see if they draft themselves into that hole again. There's the Corki, which you're grateful to see. So already a double AD carry set up to open things up, and there's the Leona. So will it be as simple as, once again, us as getting that Leona Nautilus handshake?
Yeah, so if this is just going to be the handshake, I definitely favor Ion's draft in the early game. I think they just have, Corki gets priority into these mages. He's just so much insane in the lane, being able to scale up and, out-impact the control mages, which are just not seeing much presence in the current meta. Still very surprised the Rumble has gone through, Skimmy, because that champ is just, it's too OP.
Well, it is, and if it's not to be banned away in this next phase, then surely Doraemon is thinking in the back of his mind, that's a champion that I can play, and I can very easily give us another winning matchup, another area of the map in which we hold control. And certainly if we're talking about objective power, would be, Coley's bread and butter.
Yeah, and to be fair, Ezreal Leona, I would say, is like the S-tier bot lane of the current meta. I don't think many champs can match up to the power these two champs bring in level 1. Being able to walk up to champs in the wave, or even, before the waves meet, and just stick it to them is, just very hard to contest bot lane right now. And we're not seeing a lot of the meta bot lanes being able to match that same power. And this is when I think people need to start, cooking up counters to be able to deal with these champs in the early game, because they just have so much presence in the bot lane, so much presence on the mid lane, and they really have the ability to take over these drafts.
Yeah, incredibly impressive. So much range, so much damage, and so hard to try and lock on down seems to be the key word and the key takeaway from all of that. Rumble denied, as well as the Yasuo, so once again, clear indications that these pocket picks, these powerful picks, aren't able to flourish as nicely as they would do otherwise. Zyret, obviously another one that has been highly prized by a lot of these teams. No indication that either side wants it this time. Coley hasn't usually veered towards the majors. So he's played a game of Talia, but that really would be about it. And it begs into question now, what else are Ion thinking of? And the Callista, a rare champion that we barely see in OS, but we've seen it elsewhere.
Yeah, and you were mentioning the level 1. Very hard to contest Callista at level 1. I think it's probably one of the best champs in the game at being able to just alpha those 80 carries out of bot lane. So seeing that one being banned gives a lot of it tells a story about what Ion want to do this game. They want that level 1 control bot lane, but Ashe also a very, very strong level 1 champion. So if the Ion bot lane does misstep, if a hook does land onto sticks, pair that up with the press the attack coming out of the Ashe, just so much damage in the early game. So this is really going to come down to who executes this level 1 better.
Wow, but look at this tally. The responses in Nidalee, a champion we barely see, only a 16% pick rate, as you can see from that statistic there, as well as the Aatrox on top of it. And I was quite curious to see what direction Doraemon would go for the aggression, be it the Aatrox, the Cassante, or more of the split push with the Camille. He's gone for this one. And now you wonder, all right, Chungy, what have you been cooking in this 1 week break? Maybe a blessing in disguise for the team to get a little bit more acquainted with one another and figure out what this new style Direwolves could look like. But at the last second, he's going to pivot to Jace, which we've seen him already play in the mid lane. He can still function in top.
Yeah, so the Aatrox for Doraemon is a first. We think of this player as a very, mechanical intensive top laner, but he hasn't really shown any of those very micro heavy champs besides the Camille. A lot of the champs he has been playing like the Cassante, the team fighters in the Rumble, Gragas and Kennen. So really nice to see that he is pulling out that Aatrox. You're going to have the ability to really showcase his skills, but I like the Jace answer in isolation to this champion. I think that Jace is really good into the Aatrox by itself. There isn't much gank threat onto him either, so if he does go for the phase rush, can avoid those ganks, but we all know the Jace tops. They're going to run the Conqueror, they're going to be aggressive, and we always see them go 10-0 or 0-10.
It really does become a case of one or the other, right? There's no in-between, almost like a Yasuo in its effect in its entirety. And it's interesting, right? Because you have a case of, double AD carries. You'd coin Jace in a way, given the amount of poke he has. They're, I suppose, kicking himself they didn't get Exodia with the Jace Kais like we've seen in the past. But I think Ashe is certainly going to be able to fit the bill with, semi-poke, but also at the same time that trigger pull with the Ashe arrow.
Yeah, I think the arrow really lines up this comp well for Direwolves. They have so much follow-up, with the hook, with the shock blast, with the Ori combo. So much front-loaded damage. There is pretty much no champ besides Leona who wants to be able to tank that. We saw Ground Zero yesterday and how well Kurak was doing at, just absorbing all this damage with everyone playing behind him. Gonna have to see if Hex Flash can do the same thing for his team. He needs to be that person absorbing all this, initial engage from the enemy team to make sure his carries are set up to do damage.
We're going to see how much damage gets done in this game and in this series alone, both mentally as well as in the end game scoreboard. It's Iron right now in fourth with 9 points to the name. Direwolves with only 6. A win here today would give them all 3 points. With a little bit of lady luck from their, competitors in Fury, maybe they can pinch that 4th spot away. All it takes, though, is for Iron to win a single game, and they've guaranteed that 4th spot is out right there. The stakes certainly couldn't have been any higher. And in terms of the compositions, once again, it's another new look. I mean, we've got the Nidalee coming out here for Cole Lee. Double AD carry set up to try and empower it. And I think it's really going to put the pressure on Mayfun as he, gets himself familiar with jungle once more.
Yeah, this is a first game Nidalee for Cole Lee, so another new look. We have seen him on the majors before, in other games, but Nidalee is a very, it's a feast or famine champion. It is nice pairing that with the double 80 carries. I think Primal Surge, the heal, throwing that onto an 80 carry. I think it's an 80% attack speed steroid. Get that one maxed out at level 13. So really nice for the Corki if he wants to be able to do that, insane amount of damage when he gets all the items picked up. But Nidalee by itself farms well, good at skirmishing, good at, scouting around the map. Just a champ who can fall behind and become completely useless if, not given the resources it needs.
And certainly needs to find a way to get onto the map very quickly to find those resources, right? Be it go to the upside with the Aatrox, rely on those Infernal Chains, or perhaps go towards the bot lane and link up nicely with Hex Flash to get the party started with a ton of CC. And speaking of them, he's already up here in the top lane, looking for a little bit of level 1 cheese. Mayfun taking his time, actually going to plant a ward in that middle bush just to help out Chungy. And I guess you can tell who calls the shots on this team here, Tally.
This is just a very old, range versus melee top lane interaction. You always want to get vision of that bush to make sure that if, Doraemon on Aatrox walks in and out of that bush, he is going to be, still be in vision of Chang'e and is going to be able to poke him. Jovi doing a really good job with the Gatling gun to bully out the Orianna, and this is why Corki's so strong. He's able to punish these mages who are usually really good at, spacing and poking level 1, but Corki just stands in front of the minion wave with the Gatling gun on and will just do all your health. Yeah,
just says good luck, try and juke this one. And we know that Orianna can be so phenomenal, has on multiple occasions bullied out when it has been a control mage versus control mage game, but on this occasion, and given the fact that we are just seeing, Corki Tristana all day, every day, there's no reason not to lock it in and no reason not to get a lead with it. And you talk about the aggression that Jovi's shown in the past. Let's see if that's going to be their undoing, whether or not Mayfarn then says, you know what, I've got a bit of a bounty on your head. I'm going to be camping mid.
Yeah, I have talked a lot about his aggression. I think that, with the Yone being banned, it's probably a nice thing for them in a game 1. I think in a best of series, it's just nice to have that sort of champion in your pocket, but playing the stable style Corki, well, it's a champ you can still be aggressive on, but just allows you to have more tools, use that Valkyrie to escape the engage coming out of the enemy. Plus, you're inherently already a ranged champion, so you can play much safer. But level 2 first, and I was talking about what happens in the bot lane.
Yeah, double flash burnt by both supports there. Shinky trying to buffer it quite nicely with the hook as Hexflash jumps in with that Zenith Blade, and in the end, actually, the damage goes on opposite members, and you have to wonder, all right, yeah, Shinky can't engage anymore, but now Styx is critically low.
Yeah, and even though this was the initial level 2 for Ion, the damage went on to Shinky. He does have access to those potions, which he is burning through now. Health is coming back. The health advantage is going towards Dials, but they need to crash this third wave before, any volatility comes out, because there is an invade happening right now. And, I'm always going to favor the team with the point-and-click CC in the Leona for the skirmish.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, you're really looking at Cole Lee showcase that, look, I can do everything. Oh, here we go again. Hex Flash using just that to look for the kill. Oh, no Styx, that's a tragedy. He's flashed to try and get the kill. In the end, though, he's put himself as target number 1. The focus is there. And now Katsuri across that wall says, Shinky, put your life on the line for me and I will play cleanup crew. It's a double for the Nidalee. Not only does he go for the blue buff and steal, he's then taking all your teammates as well. Jovi! Oh, no way! What a flash! 11 HP and he lives!
Oh, no.
Well.
Imagine being like, I'm going to go for a wolf kit. What? Hold up a second. There's a free Corki here, 300 gold to Mayfan, and they're still extended on this trade. One of the benefits of, Collie running this Conqueror, these extended skirmishes just are so nice to him. Gets that one stacked up, has that extra, bit of adaptive force in the early game, which really changes these skirmishes. And even though, Styx sort of into there, did even use the barrier, did fall down and gave the enemy that instant, kill onto him. Collie was untouched and paired it up with Hex Flash being so tanky, absorbing so much of the damage coming out of Katsuri. So one skirmish for them.
That certainly is. And, well, when you mentioned these junglers need to get on the ball nice and early, given the fact that they had the majority of the kills so far, certainly a telling sign as to how this game is looking to try and play on out. Mayfarn with level 3, having been denied of his own buff, is thinking, well, what is there left for me to do on the map? I'll peel and protect, I'll hover bot lane and see if there's nobody pass here or if we look for any gank in particular. In the end, though, we'll just say, well, you steal my camp, so I'll steal yours.
Yeah, this is very, very brave by Mayfarn. I thought, this was going to be the dive. They're going to try a 1-1 on Styx to deny him the way, but he just recognizes Coley's path based on the invade, knows when the golems are going to respawn, and waits for that one to pick himself up, that nice little bit of the consultation prize from the early game.
That's it. I mean, you've seen now Jovi already back to lane with a tier, as well as a Cole, feeling very strong and very successful at this lane. You know what? I can look to try and greed this as much as possible and make sure that this Corki spike will be through the roof. We've talked about it in the past, right, when we've seen these kind of competitions, the battle between a Trinity Force user and that of a crit scaler. And certainly if, Jovi and Styx, keep ahead of the pace, they will run this mid game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there is no clear scaling for me because I think the Jace pick, can match up those AD carries in late game with like the straight up burst he does apply. I always give scaling to whoever has the, the ease of doing damage, and with the, Xin Zhao being able to create so much space for you in the late game with the control mage, it's just easier to do damage overall. Whereas you look at Ion's comp, they kind of rely on Hex Flash setting up any damage to them without, Leona going in. None of them can really walk up to the, the straight up damage that's going to come out of the enemy. So I think that Dials has that ease of access, has the ease of team fight, going as the game extends. So I would say that they feel more comfortable as this game goes on.
Yeah, certainly a little bit of setup for them to work with, and whether or not it works in that way is another story entirely, but an opportunity for them to answer back for sure. We're going to see Coley now already rock his way up to the grubs, preemptive on the spear, but he's ready to go. And it looks like there's no contest from this one based on the fact that both top and mid are locked in place. And as you can see there, once again, it is this night of teams battling out for fourth spot. Divals do need a 2-0. That is simply no other scenario in which they can edge out for that spot. It is 2-0 or die.
Yeah, this is do or die for Dials, but you know, Ion, as we had the interview with Styx, they only need that one win to be able to lock in fourth for them. And if Ion does get that one win, the rest of the seedings are locked in, as we do see the Valkyrie ultimate on Emphis still has that flash.
It's a lot of damage though. There's no way to answer back. That is the icing on the cake of a tragedy of a misplay with the self-cast of the Shockwave down to bot lane, and another fight breaks out, and this one also seemingly going Ion's way. Shinky with the barrier. As the shield is good, but the max range and the hook, as he says, Mayfan's here, we can turn it around, but Shinky's jumped the gun a little bit too early. Does he die as a result? Hex Flash gonna jump back in with his dying breath. And they say, hang on a minute, how do we escape that of an Ashe that we're not even focusing? All this uptime for an AD carry. We've seen this so many times now, Tally, and they can't just keep getting away with it.
It's so funny, Skimmy, you know, when you watch that trade, if you get to see the replay, you get to watch Hex Flash when he has that W activated. His health bar is just not moving. It does not change at all. Whereas you look at Shinky, yeah, he's getting absolutely demolished by the damage coming out of both members from Ion in that trade. But as soon as that W drops, they go for that re-engage. They know that Xin Zhao in the up-front burst is going to be much stronger than Nidalee if she cannot land those spears. And this trade just, you know, it looked very one-sided until the junglers showed up.
Well, it certainly did. It all starts with the amount of burst that both an Ezreal and Leona can offer. Shinky being the focus. They just ignore Katsuri. They just simply ignore him. But then as the fight goes on and on and on, it swings back against them.
Yeah, and it just looked like such a good play for Ion initially, but with Mayfan coming in at the last second, with you know, Shinky trading his life with the re-engage, so really good job that they were able to get some kills onto the bot side of the map, and with you know, Mayfan finally having those kills now, he is a champ who can absolutely take over this game because there is no, you know, major melee threat that can take him out this game.
Certainly isn't. He's gone for the Eclipse already so early on. Only 8 minutes into the game. He's really looking to try and showcase that AD carries. You can be strong, but it does not matter. Clutch on the heel as Colley's there to protect Shinky from, protect Jovi from Shinky, I should say. Oh. And that True Shot Barrage nearly could have been a little bit of a doomer moment, as that would have been 0-3 on the Orianna. It's certainly not a spot you want to be in. Mayfan flashing forward, Primal Surge is good. Ashe Arrow from downtown not going to connect. And this mid lane gank, man, I mean, this went on for ages.
Yeah, that was a very extended fight, but this is the power of Nautilus Xin, Skimmy. You know, pair them up, point and click, you know, with the, you know, don't have access to ult, but, you know, can use that auto attack, root the enemy, pair it up with your you know, hook. Set up for the Xin Zhao, already has his first item completed. You know, we're not used to really seeing the Eclipse being that first item on Xin. We're used to seeing the Bruiser option. But, you know, Mayfan recognizes he is extremely fed this game. He's versing, you know, majorly squishy enemy comp, so he can go for that very aggressive option and completely blow this game open in the early game.
That's exactly it. Why do I need to be tank if I can just win the game on my own? Whether I go for a gank, a fight is one as a result of that one. You can see top lane would be the closest of all the lanes so far as they trade back and forth and really weave in the ability to showcase what a melee ranged matchup can just be. Does certainly seem though that Chang'e is going to be losing the battle of the sustain. And does mean that if a jungler were to pay any attention to this matchup, that they can certainly influence it even further in their direction. At the 10-minute mark then, there is nothing separating these two teams. Both even on gold and both even on the kills.
Yeah, I think the major separation for this game is definitely the mid lane. You mentioned in, you know, what you thought would be the difference. It was going to be the mid lane. We're asking Joey just completely, you know, by himself, gapping the mid lane department right now, and this is just the strength of Corki. Chang'e does not have the flash. He doesn't feel confident walking up under his turret, waiting for his team to get here, and here they are.
Yeah, they certainly are. Mayfan's so strong. Double buff Eclipse. He's ready to go. He says, Chang'e, just hop on my back. I'll take you for a ride, and we'll get some action in your favor. He gets that kill before he then gets swiftly put to rest. So yeah, you can have our Aatrox, but if you've forgotten about this man in the mid lane now, 4-1, and he's still got that Carl on top of things, so with a champion bounty and that to cash in, Jeff Bezos levels.
More than likely, he's going to have that Triforce on base just based on getting those 2 kills, being almost 10 CS per minute. You know, very used to seeing that, 10-11 minute mark for the Corki Triforce. So Joby very accelerated this game with those double buffs, going to constantly keep chipping away at that turret, you know, with the grubs coming up again, with the priority in both mid and tops. Could be 6 grubs going towards his team.
And it's just not fair at this stage for Memphis, so bullied away from this tower. Collie just needs to sit in that bush and say, yeah, I know that you know I'm here, but what are you going to do about it? You're zoned away, you can't find anything, you have to rely on your bot lane, and that's exactly what they'll do. Mr. President, the VIP himself in Katsuri, gets spoon-fed yet another kill. And yeah, you can be very squishy as this Nautilus, but they're finding the fights.
Changyi is caught out of position here, walking back to top side. You know, if this route doesn't come back to him, so he's going to be able to walk this one off. But they even might go for the dive still, Skimmy.
So they're looking for it, the spear goes sideways, the knock-up not coordinated with them, but they still go for it because the damage is absurd. Those two together, they do a little bit too much, and now you start to get worried about top and mid falling further and further behind.
This is the problem with Jace top, Skimmy. It's so important that, you know, deny a good first base to your lane opponent just through your champion be such a strong, early game pick. And unfortunately, Doraemon does get himself those ninja tabbies on that first base. You know, when you do get to level 7, have more cooldown in that queue. This matchup isn't so one-sided anymore, and because, you know, there is no gank threat onto Doraemon, but there is onto Changyi, he's able to grab control of the lane.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest loser at this stage for Ion would have to be Styx, right? You've obviously gone for the first pick on that Ezreal. It is your signature champion, but you've been targeted, and you have, lost that flipping of the coin on a few different occasions. I think Mayfan is thinking, well, I'm incredibly strong. This is an area that we can look to exploit time and time again. It is a bit of a gamble, though, because they have sacrificed all 6 of those Void Grubs, and certainly are going in for that one direction of, well, it's all about Katsuri one more time. Solar Flare is good. Stuns in place too, but they may lose a whole bunch of plates in the process.
Does have access to the Triforce though, so he's not weak by any means. He's just being targeted a lot by the enemy team because they feel like Katsuri is probably their only major win condition left in this game. But you know, with Doraemon having that TP still left on the top side, if he does want to impact bot side, if they go for a dive, if they overextend, he can absolutely take over the game.
He certainly can. First turret, another game falling on down at 12.5 minutes. 4-1 on the Corki. And double Trinity Force has to be complete. Eclipse now picked up by Doraemon as well. So they've hit their power spike, their very first one of the game. And with nothing to play for the next minute, is there enough time for Direwolves to answer back?
Ooh, that's a scary Corki, Skimmy.
It is. It is. Nearly double digits. Nearly that. Of showcasing the Memphis, you're only a fraction higher than a support, which is not where you want to be.
This is very Raze-esque, you know. We're very used to seeing the Corki being #1 on the gold meters yesterday. Maybe it might be the story of today again. Skimmy, just this absolute, you know, powerhouse gem in the mid game. He kind of gets priority or is able to match the power of most champs in the early game. Going to be really strong when he gets that Triforce power spike, and he scales extremely well into the game. So what can't this champ do?
Just a little bit too strong, and really at this stage it's a case of once again screaming out into the abyss, Riot, please change this and wait for another patch. But this is the one we're going to be playing on. This is what we're going to be used to going into playoffs as well. And certainly a chance, if it continues to be this stagnant, for teams to innovate and say, well, there are other counters out there. We don't just need to handshake these champions time and time again. It is time to get spicy.
And, you know, even though we are seeing a gold leader right now, Skimmy, there is, one completed item on pretty much every member in the game right now. So I think these team fights will come down to execution.
They certainly will, and Mayfan being the strongest one on the side of Direballs is the one to be picked apart. Unfortunately, the ganking squad of 3 members finds him very easily inside the jungle. Shinky gonna answer back, go for the double CC combo, dropping everything onto the Nidalee, but the Primal Surge outweighs the Ignite, taking damage, and they deny any kind of retaliation. No one-for-one trade found so far. That Phosphorus Bomb is just bonkers how much that did from afar. And Memphis now no longer for the world. Another double kill, 6-1 now is the Corki, and a Dragon at their doorstep.
As easy as that. The Island was the first one to strike Skimmy. You know, they set up in the enemy jungle. They waited for someone to be mispositioned. That target was Mayfan. As we do go into the replay, this is the power of, get the Triforce onto the Corki, pair that with the Nidalee Spear. Collie already has his Lich Bane, so he just does so much damage in these fights. And Memphis on the Orianna with the Shockwave just cannot find the the correct angle. They find Collie, they hit him with so much CC, but they're unable to get the execution on him. Lives with that Primal Surge, and after he gets out of here, there just is no money, no consultation price for the Direwolves.
Yeah, no threat, no way to escape this one. They rattled themselves into a pretty poor position and really made it very easy then for Ion to say, well, next one on the chopping block, we'll target you instead. Out of the replay, we see Hex Flash surrounded by 3 now. Maybe a taste of his own medicine as he flashes to safety, and he does survive. Leona really is just that broken with those base stats from your W. They'll find another hook though, and they'll find another kill. That is the most important of them all, and maybe the ticket for Memphis to get back into this game.
Yeah, getting the shutdown onto Memphis there, but this fight is still extended, Skimmy. They're still looking for the plays. Styx doesn't have the flash, but there is multiple members collapsing from multiple sides onto the Direwolves.
They certainly are. Shockwave onto 1, Styx down to 50, Doraemon flanking. Mayfan and the rest of the Direwolves were praying in that top tri-bush that they could get the jump onto somebody, but he reveals himself. The rest of the team have left him. And Doraemon says, well, maybe I just entertain the 1v3. Pops the ultimate, goes in for the chains. That's to be flashed out by Emphis. He continues. He says, the only way I lose this is if I can't hit anybody to lifesteal back. So no more is to be found. And I think it's a clear indication that Chuggy's saying, I can't TP, I'm down bot.
Yeah, but he does pick himself up the the bounty, gets himself that solo gold on the outer tower. Not going to be like, the inner tower gold. Ooh, the spear does miss by a margin. They are getting some gold, Skimmy, and I think that for the Direwolves comp, their next point of attack is when they hit those 2 item spikes. Jace, Xin Zhao, Ashe, they all spike very hard at 2 items, so they just need to be able to get these items and attack on the next avenue that they find. Because looking across the board at the Ion members, they're all extremely accelerated, and we're already going to see Joby probably pick up his 3rd item, maybe even the components for the 4th item by the time those 2nd items come through. So this Nautilus hook needs to land.
It certainly does. Yeah, there's a very, very minute window in which they can look to try and exploit a bit of an even game state, whilst it's only 5,000 that they're behind. That is still within touching distance, and yes, you will have to continue to sacrifice more and more on the map. 6 grubs, 4 turrets,
Barrow.
and now a Herald to boot as well. They can continue to be the one in the driving seat, but it is going to be up to Shinky, like you said, to find these creative angles and to get the party started.
We do see Joby on the top tower. He's, not going for the tower. He's rotating for the fight. They want to contest this, Skimmy. They don't want to get the free objective.
Jumping across the wall goes Hex Splash then, baiting with that Hex Splash at the very start. Out goes Mayfarm then, with the Crescent Guard to say no more damage to be found. Nearly pixel perfect with that one expiring. And a true shot barrage down mid lane. Not to be found, and he gets away on a sliver of health.
And I think that goes to show what this series looks like, or what Ion like to prioritize as a team, because we saw Joby had a free wave on the tower, sees 5 members in mid, could have done himself 700 gold and a bit of map press for his team, but rotates to the mid lane because they want to be able to take that fight. They don't want any risk to happen where they could be outnumbered, and they just use the map pressure from those side lanes, rotate, and get the tower anyway.
That they certainly do. With Shelly able to spawn an entire army of minions to do their bidding, they're going to have to utilize the smite to deny it from that next charge. 5 turrets now, Tally. This map is blown completely wide open. All that remains is that in the bot lane for the tier 2. And one might say, yeah, well, for Direwolves, it's easier for them to farm now. But on the other hand, it's a case of, well, yeah, Ion get more and more accelerated, and there is that 3rd item now.
There still is a bit of time until this game is completely blown out of proportion. That is when the Baron spawns in a minute and well, almost a minute and a half. But when that one does come up, Direwolves do have the damage in their inventory, and they do have the the fact that both these inner towers are down in the mid and the top lane to be able to get extremely deep vision. And Direwolves will feel so scared walking into the top side to be able to face check, contest the objective. It should be a pretty comfortable objective take for the side of Ion, and with that one, might be the game close for them.
So it could be the game closer unless we can find that Phantom Dancer for Katsuri absolutely ASAP. That could be the difference for the uptime, because for the majority of this game, he has been untouched. He is still deathless, the only one in this game, because they just don't focus him. They ignore him. They kill everybody around him. But we certainly know what an Ashe can do when given a chance to work her magic. So much damage and so much CC, soft CC, I suppose, to then guarantee the lockdown that Direwolves have put together. Shockwave is there, going to be holding it, waiting. And I almost suppose going to say, well, we'll take this one to the base and see if you're keen to try and take an inhibitor.
And that's all inner towers down on the map. The gold lead still isn't extending, though. It's stagnating at this point because there's just so much farm being funneled into the Direwolves members. They will be losing their jungle camps, though, and that's the major thing. Mayfarm is going to be the person who suffers the most from this map state. He's the only one who's not going to be getting any resources because his camps are constantly being stolen away, and his laners all want to be taking all the farm for themselves. As he does go on a bit of a solo, dewarding mission. Could be a very scary experience if you knew where the enemy was, but fortunately no one there to punish him. Going to be able to get some control on the top side, hopefully, as they do keep away this dragon. They need to get some semblance of vision control down so they can find that, the Ashe arrow, because the 2 items have come through for Katsuri.
Well, that's it. Yeah, there is the Phantom Dancer, but that is the dragon going across, as to be expected. With the Baron spawning, it's a clear indication that Direwolves are all in on this play. That would be the Hail Mary to prevent them from falling down behind by, what, 10,000 gold? Which in majority of cases is just not recoverable from. So you'd imagine it's going to be a case of all their vision goes towards top, and you can see quite clearly that is all they're looking at right now.
Yeah, but they haven't gone for that dewarding yet, Skimmy. I mentioned how they can get so much deep control, but they're going straight away for the Baron. This could be a mistake, Skimmy, without, denying the enemy walking in. This is going to be a flip, or they have to play that turn straight away. Mayfarm Smite does the same damage as Coley, so they really need to turn from this Baron. They do not want to be able to flip this objective right now.
You certainly don't want to be taking a gamble on this one. That's a massive shockwave. Is there the follow-up? That's what we're asking for right now. They've dropped members down to 50%. In jumps Mayfang with the Crescent Guard. Dropping lower and lower, but he's living, he's sustaining, he's persevering through all of this punishment. And would you believe it? They've lost nobody but taking down 2.
What a shockwave from Enfys there, Skimmy. You know, if he was just a little bit more fed, that could have been almost that instant triple kill we saw in times past out of Jovi himself. So what a play from Direwolves. And I think, you know, I mentioned they didn't have any vision control. Direwolves see them on this objective the entire time. They all funnel this objective. The shockwave lands onto every single crucial member of the enemy team. And then with Mayfarm following it up, creating so much space, I mentioned how the Xin Zhao can absorb so much damage from these AD carries because there just isn't that major AD threat besides Doraemon on the Aatrox to be able to take him down in these fights. And if the fights keep looking like this, Skimmy, I talked about that ease of access, the ease of the ability to do damage is what will allow them to outscale their opponents.
Absolutely, it just feels a little bit disrespectful at this point here, Tally. The fact that you can walk into a choke spot like that and say, yo, what's this, Orianna going to do? There's no way to hit the shockwave. Well, they do.
They're doing it again.
And quite honestly, could have really found more than 3, as multiple members had to burn literally every summoner and more just to get out of there with their life intact. Baron attempt number 2 then. Started up here by Ion, getting lower and lower, closer to that smite range. It's not looking like a 50-50 unless they hold it at this 2k margin, just shy of the smite. Oh, I got worried for a second if Mayfarm was going to steal it away. It's not to be the case. Iron with the steady hands and Cole Lee with the guarantee that we will get this job done. He's down to literally 1%, but he stands around, waits for the heal, and empowers this team to finish off the job. Katsuri, the only one yet to die, and he doesn't feel like, finding that fate anytime soon.
You know, I gotta give it to them, Skimmy. Even though that play was rushed, they had very good discipline around the Baron. They held it on that 2.5k mark. They waited for Mayfarm's W to fall up on the Baron because his E does not have that range to jump over the wall without the mark from the W, which extends his E. So, you know, they waited for that one to drop off, then used their literally execute onto the Baron, secured themselves the free objective, and, you know, that was just really well played by them. Maybe Direwolves had the potential to be able to burst with the Ori shockwave over the wall and steal that, but just well played to Ion.
That certainly is. You'd think at a bare minimum they should have been able to find 2 inhibitors. That one just hanging on by a thread there. Maybe a little bit of Lady Luck going the way of Direwolves. But a 10k lead now as a result of this one. And agonizingly close to another burger flip.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about. They held this Baron at the point where he cannot do that with himself. And I think that Direwolves need to execute as a team. Be like, all right, I'm going in, let's throw our burst now. And just flip the smite. Because being able to be in that situation where the game is flipped on that Baron smite buys you some more time. And it's your best case scenario pretty much.
So it was the best case scenario. That was their ticket back in. It doesn't really detract from the fact that they can still be hoping for these wonder engages and claiming multiple bounties. But a little bit harder now to lock down one member in particular. Jovi's already hit his 4th item at 23 minutes. He's just rushed straight out for the scimitar and says, you know what? You can no longer hurt me, and I'm going to cleanse it of everything you throw towards me.
This is a very nice buy from Jovi. You know, it's not the best buy, not the highest damage, not the best defensive item either, but it denies the enemy a win condition. You know, there's all of a sudden, you can't use the Ash Arrow onto Jovi. You can't, like, hit him with a root on Lawless because he always has that QSS potential to disengage from any engage coming out of the enemy. And it's just really nice to buy it when you're so far ahead because even though it is an item, you could go for that. I.e., I hold my point is I do see the fight happening top lane.
We certainly do see a fight breaking out. He just goes into the lane and says, here's my ultimate, what are you going to do about it? There's your jungler. I don't simply care. Easy, easy, easy. Really, no contest from Shungi at all.
Yeah, I thought that one would have been a lot closer based on the inventories. They are very similar in items, but it's the power of the Aatrox. He just gets on top of you. You're a squishy champion. You know, consider yourself an AD carry pretty much when you're in that range form. You're going to get absolutely blown up, and it's just well played by him. They're going to use that Baron to siege onto 3 inhibitors, and Jovi is diving into the Nexus Tower, Skibby.
Of course he is. The man always keen for a good little bit. Burns the flash to start things off. Triple inhibitors taken, and super minions galore right now. The game is done. The game is set. The shockwave is good, but just not enough. Inside the fountain, they get farmed. There is the ace to close out the game, and in a 25-minute fashion, a very convincing Iron win to guarantee full spot.
Yeah, and I was curious that if Katsuri was going to be able to finish that game deathless, but they do get him in the end there, as we do see Sticks popping out the curls. You know, I'm not sure if you should be celebrating after that performance we saw in the bot lane, but a win's a win, Skibby. And I think that one does go to Jovi in the mid lane. I think that he was that solo carry performance. He was that difference for the team, and he is the reason they won that game.
That he certainly is. Incredibly aggressive. A matchup that I was excited for, and one that delivered on multiple fronts. There you have it, though. Iron with this 1-0, guaranteed that they are the team outright in full spot, battling with the big dogs. As for Direwolves, it's a chance to continue that great work of what is going to be our new style and making sure that they're not too deflated going into next week's action. Let's see how this game continues right after this break.